I have a new camera hanger! Woo! Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Codename Baby, or Stuart if you want to call me by my first name. So today I'm going to be telling you about a game called Trials of Mana. Now this video almost didn't happen at all. So this kind of been a weird couple of weeks for me. I completed Mario Odyssey. I got 999 moons on that one. Here's a picture. And after that, I had an empty void that needed filling, and I couldn't really figure out what game it was that I wanted to deal with. This week's episode was going to be something quite different. It probably was going to end up me talking about my Super Nintendo and the games I have with it. At one point it was going to be a demo comparison like I did with the Final Fantasy game, but with Trials of Mana demo compared to the original Trials of Mana game. I'm going to do a little bit of that today, but I had a phone call on Friday, the day of this game's release, and I was able to acquire a copy. Thank you very much for that, Square Enix. And I got to play the game. So I'm actually going to do a full review of Trials of Mana with a little bit of comparison. But before I continue, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, put comments down below. We have hundreds and hundreds of videos, over 450 videos currently on our YouTube channel at Respawning UK. Find us on social media, and all the links are below, but please like, share, and subscribe. So on Friday, Trials of Mana released the 3D version of it, obviously. I actually got to play it on the day of. Again, thank you very much to Square Enix. And I really enjoyed myself. I knew I would, to be fair. I mean, I really enjoyed Secret of Mana, and I'd never played Trials. I hadn't got around to it yet, and this was just the perfect excuse for me to put the original in, give that a little go, and then try the new one. And the new one, well, it's really quite good. I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to lay something down for you. So what this game is a basic, absolute, just remake, a 3D version of the original game. Now I know that is the whole thing of the game as well. I have seen a few reviews, and I've asked a couple of questions, and yes, that is the case. But keeping that in mind and knowing that just before I started playing this, made me be a bit more lenient on the limitations of the game. So for instance, where you're trying to go to one area that's miles away, you can see a chest in the distance. Oh, I'm just going to hop over that bit and I can get there. You get invisible walled. There's lots of invisible walls in this game, but if you remember, if it's the exact map from the Super Nintendo game, then you wouldn't be able to do that in the original game. So why would you be able to do that in this game? I know modern games remake and stuff, but it's kind of part of the charm. I really liked it. I really liked it. I like the whole idea. So obviously, visually, this game is absolutely stunning. Yeah, you cannot take that away from this game at all. It is the brightest game I've played in a long time, and I've just finished Mario Odyssey, and I've been playing Borderlands 3, so that should really say something to you. This is a really super colourful game that just looks absolutely gorgeous. The original looked amazing. This one, just so much more again. It's absolutely lush. Now, the story of the game, which I probably should have spoken about first. Duh. So the main story of the game is basically the mana tree is dying, somebody has to receive the mana sword and save the day, basically. But you have different stories within this as well. Your characters have their own story arcs and their own reasons to find the mana sword and save the world. So the characters I picked, for instance, were Duran, who I've lovingly named Duran.
I'm a soldier from Volsena. The name's Duran.
Reese's Pieces.
I am Reese. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And Charlotte.
I'm Charlotte, resident beauty of Wendell.
That was honestly the name I wasn't expecting to see on her character list, so I just thought it was hilarious to keep it as it is, because you had Duran and Reese and Charlotte, and I thought it was funny. These characters all have their own thing going on. So for instance, Duran is a soldier. He became the champion of this land, and a evil red wizard turned up and he whooped him, absolutely whooped him. He felt really bad and decides he wants to become the strongest warrior in the world so he can destroy the red wizard and will never return to his homeland until that happens. Which, yeah, fair enough. You have Reese as well, who is a guard for her father, the king, and she she kind of dropped the ball. Her little brother unlocked this thing that was guarding their castle and guarding their land, and all these people came and invaded, and lots of people died, including Lisa's father. And her brother was kidnapped, and she's now going to try and find them as best she can, and possibly make her land better. She's not all that interesting. I find it quite annoying, to be honest. And then you had Charlotte. Charlotte was an interesting character. I picked her because she was the smallest, and I thought it was funny, and also her name was Charlotte, and that was also funny because in everyone else has semi-odd names. But she speaks kind of like Jonathan Ross, no R's and L's. So she's like, oh, the collection of mana. You know, that's how she talks, which isn't as annoying as it sounds, but I've only been playing the game a few hours, kind of. I don't know how 100 hours or, you know, another 30 hours or so is going to affect that. But her story is basically a friend of hers growing up. She's only little, by the way. She's like 8. But her friend has disappeared, and he's the only one who can save her grandpa, and she wants to try and save him. Charlotte's a weird character, by the way. A lot of the time she's like, oh, I'm so scared, I'm just a little girl, I need protecting. Yet she's walking around with massive nunchucks, and she's quite powerful as well. So, you know, obviously in Trials of Mana Remake, the core gameplay has kind of changed. It's not top down anymore. It's full 3D rendered, and you use the maps from the original game as well. And if you know the original game and you know the layout, you're going to be able to find that exact layout in a 3D version, which is really nice. But the combat has, I want to say, slightly changed. It really hasn't, but it has. So this is an action RPG. You have to upgrade your characters and your weapons as much as you can, but on a very basic level, which is great for me because sometimes JRPGs get a bit too overcomplicated for myself. But this is essentially hit your attack button and go for it, and you can hit triangle for stronger attacks, and I want to say circle. I'll put a page in. You hit the correct button to do it, and obviously you can jump around now, which is quite cool. So you can actually dodge, you can jump around, whereas in the original you could move and dodge out of the way, of course, but it was a lot less fluid, I suppose, is probably the best way to put it. But like in the original, you have to wait for semi-cooldowns. You can constantly hit, which is great, but you do have to wait for certain cooldowns for certain other moves you want to add to it. So you want to do a cross-cut, for instance, which is by holding R1 and hitting, I want to say square or circle. I cannot remember the layout of the PlayStation Pad at all. But you hit that button and you get a much more powerful attack, obviously. But the platforming is something that's come into it. Now, in the original game, you would defeat an area of enemies and a chest would appear. And sometimes you get a roulette chest. You click it and you get this wheel kind of spin around, and you click again, you get a bonus, you get a new enemy to fight, you might get some damage, you might get some extra health, but it just depends on what's going on. You also get the polter chest, which I loved. I thought it was brilliant. I really loved it, and I missed it in this new version of the game. I was a bit upset about that, to be honest, because I thought it was a really cool element. But what they've done instead is they've dotted chests around the entire map, items you can pick up around the entire map everywhere, and there's like very basic platforming you can do to get to certain areas. Now, I think that's quite good, but you do miss out on a few things. So, for instance, you miss out on polter chests, which is great, but you also miss out on certain gags. You know, again, I've only played the original for a short amount of time, and I've played this one for a short amount of time. I've played this one much more. But in the original game, you see a fortune teller, and at one point, your character will jump on the table, and the fortune teller gets angry and just slaps you off, which I thought was hilarious. Also, your main character, so my character Duran, would freak out and kind of like like that kind of thing when certain things would happen in the original one. So he was really super animated and had loads of character, and you kind of got what was going on. But the irony is, in the new one, he's less animated. So instead of he's more like, that's weird, whoa. And yeah, I was a little bit upset about that. I'm not going to take any points away from it because I understand why they did it. You can see the full character more. You can put more expression into his face. You don't need to animate the entire body to have him freak out. So I understand it. I get it. Now, music in this game is, well, I didn't really pay that much attention, even though I did have it on. I was listening to it and it was lovely, and it was in the background and everything chugged along. There was nothing annoying. It may have repeated over and over again, but the music, the instruments they use were absolutely pleasant, and yeah, it's a really lovely soundtrack. And I know a lot of people love the original soundtracks as well. So to hear orchestral renditions of that is a really nice touch. And you know, if you enjoy the music of Mana, then you're going to enjoy the music of Mana, I guess. Now, there were cutscenes, lots and lots of cutscenes, which is fine. You know, because in the original there were cutscenes technically as well, but it was all through text boxes. But there were a few issues with some of these cutscenes. So obviously, as you're playing the game, the game's got to load it in and register it. There was a little bit of pop-in graphics issues. Other than that, this game just ran smoothly and ran really quite amazing. I only had one other glitch, and that was basically I was jumping and I just got caught on a little ledge for like 3 seconds, if that. And I just popped off and it was great and I was fine. Now, I'm hoping a lot of people are going to be relieved to hear that there are a lack of glitches that I found, at least in this game, because the original 3D remake of of Secret of Mana didn't go so well. There were apparently lots of problems with that one. Whereas I'm very glad to say in this version I haven't seen any of those problems that were reported in the original 3D remake of the game. Yes, one really nice addition. Now, you have 6 characters you can pick throughout this entire game, and that means there's 6 different campaigns essentially varied up throughout the course of Trials of Mana. Now, they all intercross. You will meet all these characters as you're playing as well. But there was a really nice feature that happened. Now, in the original, you meet characters and they tell you their backstory. You get a little cutscene, a little montage, and it tells you their backstory, why they're there, what they're doing. So, for instance, Reese is trying to find her brother, for instance. But this time around, when I bumped into Reese's Pieces, it gave me the option to play the prologue, which was really cool. You can't save anything, you can't bring any items from it. But the prologues aren't overly massive, and you got to play the actual prologue to her story. If you picked her as your main, you would have this as the first thing you did. And the same thing when you make your third party member, you get the same thing as well, which was really cool. So I really enjoyed that story aspect, which just means that you can see 6 different stories for your characters to go through, and means that you go, oh, well, if that's changed that much for this character, then maybe when I play it as a different character, I'll get a whole different story again. In fact, I think the other 3 characters I pick have a completely different beginning again. I'm honestly not sure. Again, I haven't tried that. But I've got 5 hours in and got to the second boss. Oh, boss battles! Oh, the boss battles are cool, man. I really enjoy them. So you basically just got big old bosses that you've got to beat down and just take forever to kill. But instead of like turn-based RPGs, which is not my forte, this is action-based. You're just hitting that button, you're hitting combos, you're getting the big power moves in, you're throwing health to your teammates. You can command them to do other things, so specific things. So for instance, I've got Charlotte as a healer, but she's also attacking at the same time, so she's going to constantly look after us and heal us as best we can, but attack the same character that I'm attacking at the time. You have Reese is set up as not full attack, she's kind of well balanced, so she will attack, she will heal up and kind of balance out a bit, whereas the character I've been playing as, Duran, his set to full attack. So you can change your strategies as you go as well. So when you're in the middle of battle, hit the start button, share button, I don't know what it is. Hit the start button and you go to that menu, and you can change it up on the fly, which is really cool. You can also change your item wheels and move boxes. You can hotkey some items as well, so instead of having to use the wheel and skip around, which is probably the best option because it pauses the game for you like very slightly, completely the entire time you got your item wheel out. But you can hold R2 and hit R1 and hit a button to use your C's, to use Petrify, use items that do water damage, or that kind of thing. It's a really cool thing, and to be honest with this game, I'm definitely going to go back and finish this. I absolutely am. I've already got myself planned out for next week, and because not going out at the moment, am I? So, so next week I'm going to sit down and absolutely play this game, which is really nice because I don't play the PlayStation that much, and well, this is on the PlayStation, so it gives me a chance to actually use the machine that's just gathering dust. But not only that, it's a really engrossing story. I don't necessarily like all the characters. I think some of them are a bit arrogant, some of them are stupid for no reason. Others are very flirtatious and unnecessarily showing areas and scantily clad. But I really enjoy the story, and the characters aren't that bad, to be honest. I really enjoy them, to be honest. I think they're all right. But yeah, this game is just a fantastic piece of work. Square Enix have really nailed this, and obviously they're going to be, I'm assuming they're going to be going down remake routes like this for a long time. If they could do a version of this with Final Fantasy VI, oh, I mean, oh. So in summary, Trials of Mana is a fantastic, beautiful, actually well-crafted game. I would say well written as well. Again, I may not necessarily like the characters as much as I would like to, but they are interesting. They bounce off well from each other, and they have some really nice interactions. And again, the world is just so beautiful and well realised that it doesn't really matter. So at the moment, I'm only 5 hours in. I've defeated 2 bosses. I haven't got very far at all in this game. I will be continuing on, and I will update you with a mini review in a later episode of Bear's Den, so the score can change. But right now, it is sitting at a very happy 8 out of 10. For sure, 8 out of 10. This is a fantastic game. Play it if you haven't. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you very much for being patient with me rambling along as I always do. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of the video. That'd be really amazing of you. And just don't forget to be nice to each other, yeah?